Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. We are basically discussing one of the topic that is integration. Integration basically we are discussing one of the topic that is future creation. In future creation, basically we are discussing one of the topic that is India account. So in India account, basically we are discussing one topic that is related to SBI. So related to SBI and MSN account. And after 2 days, basically the earthquake is going to happen. In this, basically we are discussing one topic basically that is actually very dangerous topic. That is lava. On the base of lava, basically we created the entire human basically created from lava. That also you can say current generation basically that is created on the base of lava data basically. So that actually how it was designed basically, that was actually the thing basically which we are discussing here basically. So that actually we are discussing here basically. So the point basically which we are discussing, this is actually very dangerous point for government, for private sector, especially for government basically, who are basically telling that we are everything basically, and mostly basically they know everything this because this whole thing basically are normal thing basically for them basically, for not for us basically, we basically many less people basically might be knowing this even basically the software company who says that basically we are the number one in companies, they also few people basically might be knowing, but knowing basically might be knowing basically because everything is happening, everything is ongoing. That means somebody is doing that basically. Otherwise, basically, how this happens basically. That means in our planet, basically, lots of people basically are knowing this everything, which we are, I am talking just now. So one of the person here basically I have taken the example of Mumbai city. In Mumbai city, basically, there are around more than 5 to 6 lakh companies basically, assume that. But they have not given me job basically. That is different point basically. That we will discuss later on basically what actually the why they have and lots of point lots of video I have discussed also basically why basically they are not given job this that basically. So mostly things basically are discussed. So here the point is the 5 to 6 lakh companies basically, 7 to 8 lakh companies basically, 8 to 9 lakh, 10 lakh. But in Mumbai basically I think company might be software companies basically I'm talking about. There might be around 1 to 2 lakh company basically, small big software companies basically might be basically, but exactly not sure basically. Why? Because we don't have the data. So here the point is they are basically creating 1 lakh project. They created project on the base of what? On the base of what they got the on the base of what basic they create the project. The business development group basically they given the project to Mumbai city, and then basically they got the project. They have done the hard work basically. They have done the hard work basically. Bollywood group basically 25 to 30% is business basically. Bollywood groups basically are giving to Mumbai basically by giving hard work basically. So how hard work that basically their talent is there basically. Their talents are there basically. People likes their work. People likes their movie. So they spends 100 200 crore just like this basically. 100 2 crore is a normal amount for Bollywood group basically. But when the normal person like me basically struggling for job also basically. So you can just imagine basically the conditions. So here basically what topic basically we are discussing? The topic we are discussing is 1 lakh project basically which company is doing. From 1 lakh project they are going to generate, assume that basically they are going to generate lava from Churchgate to Virar under the land basically. Lava basically are created under the land only basically. It never comes out basically, and it will comes out then basically the land basically will get end basically. That land only basically will get end. So mostly lava doesn't comes out basically. So always pray basically for that lava doesn't come out. So Mumbai basically, that's why in Mumbai basically lots of temples are there, lots of mosques are there, lots of church basically are there. They basically keeps on praying that lava doesn't come out. So here basically lava mostly basically will never come because it's very deep basically. It's not basically that it's just a little bit kilometer up. So here it's very deep. So here the topic is what? 1 lakh project ongoing from 1 lakh project basically. Sorry, 1 lakh company basically. 1 lakh company basically are doing the 10 crore project. Here basically I have taken the example of 10 crore. So Mumbai basically is have 1 crore 1 lakh company basically because I have changed that parameter basically from 1 lakh company basically they have created they are basically creating 10 crore projects. 10 crore projects basically they are creating. From 10 crore project basically they are going to generate 100 crore child. They are going to generate 100 crore child and that child basically are doing the certain level of task and according to the ideas are going to generate into the environment. And next generation basically tasks are also basically defined and which all human needs basically are going to need that are also basically we have defined. So this mostly all thing basically we have discussed many times. So one person told that actually yeah basically we want to know Sunil this you told that 10 crore project basically are creating lava right basically lava data. So how basically they might be doing here basically? That is basically the good question, na, basically. How the software company might be doing this basically? They might be some. They might be having. So few people told that the business development group, na, basically, they are giving project to Mumbai, so they are actually doing it. So one person told that that means there are many different groups basically who are experts basically. All experts basically are into this and they basically are running the consultancy or basically they might not be having the companies basically or basically it might possible they might be having the companies and they might be having the companies and they might be having the companies and they might be having the companies also but it might possible that many few people basically might be working he basically might have kept that company just for purpose basically so that he can do his task personal task also because he is doing very dangerous task basically. So 1 lakh software companies basically are getting the projects from this group basically, who are basically beyond the companies. They basically have big contacts in companies. They are basically into the business development plus. So mostly they are basically who? They are mostly IITs, IIMs, many big degrees people basically. Because they only can create this project. 10 crore projects basically. 10 crore projects basically what they are creating basically. They are creating 100 child from project basically I'm telling you. Project means software company basically do the project, CRM project, ERP project, that project basically I'm telling you. From that project basically they are creating 100 crore child. They are basically generating ideas and the ideas basically are connecting to the human bodies that is the child to according to the according to the task basically what he is going to do, what he is doing. Next generation task basically what he is going to do and all human needs basically which he is doing. So you can just able to imagine basically what are the stuff basically ongoing basically. So business development group basically they might be doing well, right? But they might be having data from somewhere basically because without data and without basically lots of people say they are IITs and IIM and they are basically a high level study basically. But this everything basically IITs IIM basically they don't give the teaching basically, but they create the base basically so that they can do these all projects basically. They basically do can these all projects basically. So they were basically creating the base. Basically, they have created the base, and the base of then only basically the normal person like BCom person, MCom person, they can basically do. They can basically create the child like project basically. For example, one project is going to generate child. Is that possible basically? They can create the project. BCom group basically. I am BCom person basically. I am having this video basically. That means I have the idea, na, basically. This type of thing basically is ongoing. That basically I have the idea. Many less company basically in India basically they might be having this basically. Just the topic basically which I am discussing, many less company might be knowing, but they know that basically something basically they are doing basically globally. But what basically that is this basically. Just now basically I'm talking. Their topic is 10 crore project basically they are doing. 1 lakh companies there. From 10 crore project basically they are creating 100 crore. 10, from 10 crore project basically they are creating lavas. From lava basically the power is getting generated, but long after some, that is basically the future generation. For the future generation, the lava basically is converted into let a set of data. That data might be sand also, that data might be tectonic plates also, that data might be the in the form of lava data also basically. It might be lava data also basically, and it never comes converts to the sand also. That type of data might be there basically. So one of the person, because all alternative basically the world creator has kept basically. If this will not, that is an, if that will not, that is there basically. So you can just imagine basically. So here the topic is what? Lava created. After lava basically the power company takes the data. That is for future generation. I am talking about the future generation who are basically going to do this. So future generation power companies, energy companies, nuclear power companies, they are going to do this basically. That is what they are going to collect the power data and going to send to each and every area. And according to that, the environment gets set. Some basically groups are newly married. Their romantic environment basically gets married. In that basically romantic environment basically immediately they connect to the child basically. But few people basically doesn't get. Why? That basically depends upon the condition basically which is dumped into the lava, and that is connecting to history of his family basically. History of his family basically. So that basically you need to check basically the history of family basically why he is not getting connect. For example, he is a Hindu, then basically you need to contact to some certain level of groups basically. Then if he is a Christian, if he is a Parsi, then basically they have to contact to them basically. That why basically I'm not getting the power supply which the which the 10 crore projects has created the lava. From that lava data basically why it's not generating the, why basically it is not connecting to me basically as a romantic mode, and why basically I'm not getting the child basically. So that basically is very dangerous thing basically, because that is connecting to the history basically. That I, lots of people says that never go to history, but that is also correct. But if this type of problem will arrives, then basically what he is going to do basically? We have to go to history. So that is, there people basically are there because one person basically can't do anything basically. I self basically can't do anything basically. Myself basically can't do anything basically. No basically. I can just have this video basically. Nothing else basically I can do. So this is basically very dangerous video basically. It's connecting to many software companies basically. But if you are running the software company, then basically you should able to aware about this whole thing basically. That is must basically. I'm telling you basically. What you are doing basically that you must know basically. Government basically are doing that, they know basically that they are they basically are helping it. The 10 crore projects, these 10 crore projects basically are given by the business development officer. So the business development officer basically direct doesn't connect to the companies. They basically have connecting to the political people, and political people basically are giving the projects to the companies, because directly no other people basically can contact to companies of the countries. For example, India have 1 lakh company. So 1 lakh company basically they can't directly contact to the America. They basically can't directly contact to the UK, Italy basically. In middle basically the government is there basically. Because government know this basically. That's why basically the government is basically are there. Why otherwise basically why government is required? One person basically that task basically we also can't do what the government are doing. But this whole thing basically government knows basically that they are they are going to create 10 crore projects from the lava data that is basically generated from the sorry, they are basically creating lava data from this 10 crore project which is basically created by the 1 lakh companies. Then from that lava data basically um, the 100 crore project, 100 crore child is going to generate ideas, then next generation data, then basically the task, each and every stuff, and the human needs. So you can just imagine basically it's not so easy task. It's not basically so easy task for government also. Basically. Government, which lots of people might be telling that, अरे यार government को तो क्या करने का है? That means government basically what they are doing basically. But they have not given me job. That is different thing basically. Here basically I'm not talking that basically. But government basically, lots of people say that government what they are doing here basically. In Hindi basically it is telling that basically what actually government. Let's me basically have this basically in. Just a minute, I will just explain with you in different languages. That would be good basically. So that basically is like this. What task basically governments are do? That basically we will not display in the sound basically. Though I will display here basically. Because the video recording which I am using, that doesn't take the sound recording of the computer or laptop.
What task governments are doing? What task governments are doing? सरकारें क्या कार्य कर रही हैं? सरकारें क्या कार्य कर रही हैं? सरकारें क्या कार्य कर रही हैं? સરકારો શું કામ કરી રહી છે? સરકારો શું કામ કરી રહી છે? എന്താണ് സർക്കാരുകൾ ചെയ്യുന്നത്? എന്താണ് സർക്കാരുകൾ ചെയ്യുന്നത്? அரசுகள் என்ன பணி செய்கின்றன? அரசுகள் என்ன பணி செய்கின்றன? सरकार काय काम करत आहे? सरकार काय काम करत आहे? What task governments are doing?
So this is that thing basically. So 1% rather if you basically go against government, then basically they bans your resume, they basically bans your mobile number, they bans your email address, what the person basically is doing, that each and everything basically they track basically. But that is basically got not a good habit basically. That is actually not a good habit basically for the government basically. That is basically not a good habit for the government basically. That is actually not a good habit for the government. What person basically is doing, what basically is recording in the video, that each and everything basically government. If you go against government, but that is not the good habit basically, right? Basically, if you are going like this, if you are doing like this, because government is government basically. They basically can't. Nobody. For example, I will say that basically I want to go to Singapore without government permission. That is possible basically. You just see na basically. That is not possible. If I say that basically I want to join the software company without government, that is possible. Not possible basically. It's not impossible basically. Because government have the control of each and every companies basically. But if they go beyond, then basically, sometime basically, if some bad person basically they connects, then basically it creates lots of problem to them basically, even to the government basically. That basically, I am not telling that I am a bad basically. I am a peace person basically. I am peaceful person basically. Whatever things basically I do, I always do peacefully basically. So here, the what is the thing basically? 1 lakh companies generated 10 crore project, 10 crore converted into the lava. That lava basically are creating what? Future data. That lava are dumped into the land. After certain time basically, the lava data basically are going to be used. But how basically? From the power supply. And the power supply is going to generate what basically? It's going to generate 100 crore child ideas, next generation human bodies. So one person basically asked the question basically, yeah, Sunil, basically you are telling this, that, each and everything basically you are telling. But one thing basically you tell basically, how basically this project are getting created basically. You have any idea basically? Then basically the simple answer is business development officers basically are connected with governments. They basically connects with, that means the government basically who are sitting at the as parliament house at the Delhi. They are basically very intelligent basically. That also you can say, because they understand the 10 crore project basically. So to understand this 10 crore project basically, it's not a normal thing basically. It's a system basically. So the governments basically are into the system basically. So lots of people say, sir, ये तो क्या है the government? But they are very intelligent basically. I'm telling you basically. You basically can't imagine basically up to what level intelligence basically governments are basically. But they have not given me job. That is different thing. That is basically different thing. That they have not given me the job. So you can just imagine. So up to what level the governments are. That means governments are very intelligent, but not given me job. That is different thing basically. But here basically we are not discussing that basically. Here basically discussing this topic basically. That is 10 crore projects which is collected by the government basically, and they understands the project. Yeah, basically it's not like that basically they don't understand the projects and how they create that each and everything basically they are going to discuss in detail. Basically. But detail basically mostly thing basically I had discussed. If you merge that each and every videos basically, if you watch each and every video of my basically, you will connect to this video basically, which I am talking basically just now. That is 10 crore project. 10 crore project which is given by the business development officers that are basically international business development officers. So they basically know that Xbox equal to 1,000 cities. They know that. They know this basically. According to that only they are developing the projects, no, basically. They are doing the process. Their software companies are going to do process in text box, combo box, checkbox, radio buttons. So that all are the places basically where this all process basically happens. So the government basically knows everything, basically. And the business development officer basically though they basically know everything basically. Everything means each and every stuff basically. So they are very intelligent basically. They are intelligent and the company's owner basically. The company owner basically there lots of people says that company owner जो है they are very intelligent basically. But government's groups are basically more intelligent. Basically. That I believe basically that. Because if they can understand this 10 crore project is a normal amount basically. From 10 crore basically, 1 lakh project basically, Mumbai government is collecting. Mumbai government has collected. So from 1 lakh project basically, they are going to divide to the companies basically. So they are going to decide which company basically should get which type of project. That means they know na basically which company basically can do this project. So they have understood this project. According to that only they have told that basically this project this company can do. That means they have each and every idea of the utility, power, each and every stuff basically, their employees' power, each and every stuff basically they know that this company can do this type of task. Otherwise, basically they can allocate the projects basically. to allocate. For example, I am basically project manager, software delivery head. I got one basically one project. In that basically I got one login screen to develop. So the business case is like this. There are basically two types of authentication. One is database level authentication. Second is Windows level authentication. So whenever the login, the user is going to do the login, that has to check basically whether the user entered that is Windows or on database level. Or basically you can select in the combo box basically that select Windows or basically database. So database authentication can do by the normal person. That is a normal developer. But Windows authentication that connects to the APIs. So that basically normal developer basically can't do. So the I know that's why basically. So allocation of the work basically that basically I am doing. So same way the government basically are doing same thing basically. So government knows that basically that this type of task basically government, so they have connection basically of technical group basically. So the business development officers na, who are basically the international officers, they have the resources basically which they have allocated to the each and every governments. So governments are connected with that resources if they have any some doubt basically, but they have to pay that basically certain level of amounts that basically government have to pay, and they might be paying it basically, or basically they hires that person only basically. If they feel if they feel that basically that project is very critical, so they literally hires the person in the government departments basically. So you can just imagine. So most of things basically I have discussed how the things are basically connected. Then also we will discuss little bit basically. Most of things basically if you watch my video, each and every videos basically are connecting to this project. That is 10 crore project which basically the government has got, and government is going to allocate this 10 crore project which is basically going to connect it to certain level of power companies, and the power companies are taking data from that lava data which is basically dumped long before. Or basically the another thing is this 10 crore project basically they are basically generating, and that lava basically that project basically is going to connect to the lava. That lava is going to be, that lava basically is connected with the future projects. That is a 100 crore projects. That is a 100 crore. So in next video basically we are going to see a little bit more about this topic.